It's been less than 2 years since El Presidente last imposed his iron will on his populace, and he's taken the time to learn a few new authoritarian tricks in time for Tropico 4. Are these changes enough to signal a revolution for this vibrant city sim, or do they merely maintain the cozy status quo of Tropico 3?
Welcome, Presidente! There is an opportunity here that can make us all rich.
To be sure, you'll find few surprises here if you played Tropico 3. You're El Presidente, and you alone decide whether you govern your people with communistic efficiency or exploit both them and the island's resources for capitalistic gain. Whatever your motives, Tropico 4 provides you with more than enough ways of keeping your citizens fed, entertained, and employed, so you can party in your palace while keeping a sharp eye on any hint of rebellion. The difference is that Tropico 4 takes place in the heyday of the Banana Republic, specifically those tense years between 1950 and the end of the Cold War. Not only are the United States and the Soviet Union breathing down your neck, but other foreign powers such as China and the Middle East are also clamoring for a piece of your tropical pie. It's not much better on the home front. Factions such as nationalists and environmentalists nibble at your totalitarian armor at every turn, ever ready to criticize your decisions and spread dissent in paradise. The addition of a ministry building could have made these maneuverings more interesting, but it only adds a bureaucratic flair to your edicts and perks. Yet the factions and nations are no longer the nameless statistics of Tropico 3. Instead, each is represented by fully voiced stereotypes that add humor and assign side missions that help you decide how to progress.
Partner, we have a problem.
That's it for the environment. Next week, library subscription fees.
While welcome, the structure of these missions has the odd effect of taking some of the sandbox elements out of Tropico for the sake of accessibility. No longer do you need to dig through your almanac to find how environmentalists feel, for example. Instead, you can count on people like Sunny Flowers interrupting your game with some side mission to remedy a perceived wrong. If you take their advice, you'll usually earn a hefty bonus, which is often enough to relax the policies of even the staunchest tyrant.
A bored tourist injured himself making funny faces. I see you've made progress on your little island, my friend.
When it comes to gameplay, the mango doesn't fall very far from the tree. As before, you'll want to build mines over mineral deposits, transform your most scenic spots into tourist traps, and erect farms on the land that's best for a particular crop. Elsewhere, you'll have to pave roads and decide what kind of housing to provide your subjects, as well as how to keep them happy through the strategic placement of police stations, churches, and markets. Of course, if they get out of line, you can always resort to the occasional bribe or assassination. You have a few new buildings at your disposal, such as a shopping mall, but none of these mean much to the core gameplay aside from cosmetics. On a larger scale, you'll have to contend with natural disasters such as tornadoes and volcanoes, which can wreak havoc on several hours' worth of work if they hit at the right time. But that's when the new ability to auto-complete one of your buildings for a lump of cash comes in handy, as you'll often be able to avert a disaster that could have sent your island careening into chaos if you had to wait the full length for construction. The new focus on side missions is welcome, but mainly in the sense that it adds some spice to the often repetitive gameplay. Since the strategy that worked well for one island works quite well for another, you'll likely know how to build your perfect nation as early as the 5th mission, and you can then use that template to adjust to anything nature or your populace throws at you.
Yeah, I think I can see a giant hamster wheel in there.
Presidente guy, let's get the foreign pigs who don't respect us enough.
Tropico 4 looks very similar to Tropico 3, aside from subtle cosmetic changes, such as welcome variations of the colors of identical buildings. It's a smart move, and one that goes a long way toward keeping your metropolis from looking like it was built on an assembly line. The game also revels in the series' signature humor and occasionally improves on its predecessor. Gone is Tropico 3's Juanito, the despised radio announcer who proved so unpopular that you can now earn an achievement for killing any citizen with his name. Instead, a more generic radio show editorializes on your actions, and the many faction and national leaders spread the laughs through their constant badgering and flattery, each with a fair amount of competent voice acting. A couple of these characters border on the offensive, but they're never around long enough to grate your nerves. If only the same could be said of the music. There's nothing particularly wrong with the game's Latin-inspired soundtrack, but you'll likely find yourself switching off the music and substituting it with your own after the second mission or so. When it comes to enduring hours of the same rhythms, even El Presidente has his limits.
Get a job, you slubs!
It's best to look at Tropico 4 as a port of entry for new players. If you've never set sail for the island paradise's sunny climes, you'll be happy to know that the improvements allow you to enjoy a more accessible version of Tropico 3 without feeling like they've dumbed down the content. Veteran players, though, are likely to consider it a $40 expansion. It may be the best game in the series yet, but that's only because it bolsters an already admirable framework.
Comrade, progress does not wait for anyone.